She pulled your hair after that, she uttered, taking a sip of her cold coffee. Exactly. But wait, how do you know? He gaped at her with wide eyes. She sighed. You ruined your girlfriend's dress, not to mention intensely. What will a sane person do with an insane person after this kind of antics? Obviously, charge on his hair to make him bald. Yeah, are you my best friend or hers? You should take my side. And I didn't ruin her dress intentionally. I want to show my painting skills. He pouted, dismayed by her words. Painting? There's a thing called canvas, she sighed. Never mind. Whom am I even rectifying? You weird alien will again do something out of the world. He grinned as if she had praised him. Anyways, how is your married life? Are you enjoying newly married and all, huh? He wriggled his eyebrows teasingly whilst one rolled her eyes. Nothing interesting is going on in my newly married life. It's frustratingly boring. She flared her nostrils as her husband's image flashed before her eyes. Why? What happened? He turned a little serious and crossed his hands over the table as his full attention was now on her. The problem is, nothing happened. Taeyong frowned in confusion. One day, Wan hopped down the stairs and walked towards her 1 week husband who was working on his laptop. She took a seat beside him. Jimin, she softly called him and noticed him stiffening on his position. He shifted a little away from her and gulped audibly. Jimin, I was thinking if we. She was cut off when he suddenly stood up and fled away from there as if his was on fire. Can go out somewhere, she mumbled, watching his retreating back. Maybe he suddenly remembered some important work, that's why he went away. He reasoned, earning an exhausted sigh from Ryan. Does he remember important work every time when I get close to him or try to initiate conversation? She frowned, reminiscing her failed efforts to talk to him. I think you are overthinking Ryan. It's just 3 weeks of your marriage. Maybe he needs some time to get comfortable. He mused. Time? Some other day. Ryan came in the dining area to have dinner. Jimin was already sitting on his seat. Their eyes met for a millisecond before Jimin tore his gaze away and stared at his plate. She sighed and sat across him. The maid served dinner for her and left from there. She pressed her lips as an idea popped in her mind. She picked her plate and rounded the table and sat on the chair beside Jimin, who was eating peacefully. From her sidelong glance, she noticed him pausing. He swallowed a big lump and shifted on his seat. The dinner is nice, isn't it, Jimin? She asked with a smile. Yea. He shuddered and squirmed on his seat. Jim, I'm done. Her words left unsaid when he rose from his seat and disappeared from there within seconds. Vine blinked her eyes, perplexed about his actions. What is wrong with him? She mumbled to herself when she saw his plate, which was still filled with food. Her appetite died down after his reaction. She got up and left towards her room. This is not one time thing. It happens every time I try to talk to him. He flees away like he had seen some ghost. You are talking about time and all. How are we going to continue this relationship without communication? At least I am trying, but he avoids me as if I am a virus. She scoffed at the end. This is definitely serious, he uttered after a long pause. When, by any chance, he has someone else he loves and he was forced to marry you? He frowned, thinking deeply about this matter. No, I don't think so. His mother and my mother are best friends, and she assured me he has no one. In fact, he never had any relationship with a girl, not even friendship. She clarified. Taeyong nodded, replaying her whole conversation in his mind. This can't be, he gasped, staring at Wine with wide eyes. What? She leaned towards him, eager to know the reason behind his unusual reaction. What if he is gay? He whispered. One shrieked with shock. It's not possible. He's totally a daddy material. Gay and Jimin? No, that's not possible. Yeah, there are some men whipped for him, but he. She shook her head vigorously, assuring herself that it can't be the truth. Her heart thud inside her ribcage with the impossible possibility. You never know what goes in a person's brain with his external appearance. There's a little probability of this being the truth. What do I do now, Taeyong? She spoke at the words of tears. Spy on him. Use your detective skills and find out the truth. If it's wrong, then it's good for you, and if it's true, then what? Then I have a male friend. I will give you his number, and Jimin too. Whoever likes him can go on a date with him. He smiled, earning a call from Ryan. Whatever. I'm leaving for his office. Maybe I'll find some evidences there. Good idea. All the best, my detective bestie. He grinned at her, encouraging her to go on with her plan. Van slowly sneaked on the floor where Jimin's cabin is. She quickly hid behind a wall when she saw Jimin coming out from the meeting room. His secretary, Jungkook, followed closely after. She squinted her eyes, observing his every movement keenly. She watched them entering inside Jimin's cabin, but what caught her attention was Jimin's loud laughter. He was giggling about something Jungkook told him. He doesn't even talk to me, and here see how he is proudly showing his teeth, she murmured to herself. Wait, is there something going on between these two? Need to find out. She slowly skidded towards his cabin and opened the door slightly to peek inside. The meeting went well and we got the project. When are you inviting me for dinner, Jiminshi? I also want to meet your wife. He wrinkled his eyebrows, making Jimin blush. Wine, who was speaking inside, didn't hear anything and gasped when she saw his red cheeks and slice smile. Jimin walked towards his chair and about to sit down, but he lost his balance. Jungkook quickly moved forward to give him his helping hand, but stumbled along with him. Their heads collided, and they ended up falling on floor. Wine's eyes widened as she covered her mouth in shock. From the angle where Wine was standing, it was looking as if they were kissing each other. Taeyong was right. He's a gay. She cried and ran away from there. Jimin came back from his office. His eyes roamed around the living area, desperately wanting the sight of his wife. He sighed in disappointment when he didn't find her there. With heavy steps, he dragged his worn out shelf towards his room. As he was passing from Wine's room to into his, he heard some noise from inside. He halted and frowned because he heard her muffled sobs. He nibbled on his lower lip and knocked on the door twice but didn't get any response. Why are you inside? He knocked once again, but when he didn't get any response this time too, he got worried. Without giving a second thought, he held the doorknob and opened it. Luckily, it wasn't locked. He entered inside the room, and now he could hear the sobbing sound more loud and more clear. His eyes moved across the room, stopping at Van, who was sitting in the corner. Her face was buried in her knees, and her shoulder was shaking, indicating she was crying. He got extremely worried and walked towards her. Crouching down to her level, he called out in his melodious voice, Van. His voice came out as a whisper. She stopped abruptly and lifted her face to meet his eyes. His heart twisted with concern when he watched her tear-stained face. What happened, Van? Why are you crying? He asked gently. He gulped and blinked his eyes when she started crying again, louder this time. You are a liar. Cheat, she yelled at him. What did I do? He shuddered when she glared at him. You betrayed me. You didn't tell me you're into boys. You ruined my life. She held her head, wiped her nose with a tissue paper, and threw it across the room. He snapped his head at her. A look of disbelief took over his soft features. What? He whispered, being stung. Yes, I know you are gay, she cried out, his face crunched with frustration as he stared at her with angry eyes. Who told you that? He asked. His tone shifted from gentle to rough. Taeyong, when I told him about you avoiding me, he suggested you can be gay. At first, I didn't believe him, but when I saw you kissing your secretary in your cabin today, my doubts got clear. Taeyong was right. She ruined another tissue, which soon joined the gang of dirty tissues on the floor. That he gritted his teeth. Give me your phone. He extended his hand. Seeing his sudden angry demeanor, she didn't argue further and placed her phone in his hand. What are you doing? She asked when she saw him opening her contacts and going on Taeyong's contact number, blocking him so that he won't feel nonsense in your brain ever again. He muttered and blocked his number. Why are you blaming him? He was just helping me. Helping by telling you I am gay? But you are. For God's sake, Swan, I'm not into boys. I'm straight as a stick. Goodness, I don't want you near that thing ever again. He's weird and he's making you like him. You are almost like him. He flipped his hair back in frustration. But I saw you kiss. I wasn't kissing anyone. I lost my balance. He tried to help me and we both fell down. That's it. I didn't kiss anyone. He stressed on every word. Then why did you avoid me? What will be your reaction when you'll get married to your longtime crush? I'll die out of shyness if I get married to Kim Namjoon, she said, smiling widely. Exactly. I have always liked you since high school days, and I suddenly got married to you. Every time you came near me, I couldn't control myself from blushing. I don't want to embarrass myself in front of you. That's why I ran away as soon as you appeared in front of me. I was mustering up courage to tell you how much I like you, but you took it otherwise. He shook his head. How would I know why you behaved like that? She reasoned, looking away from him. He was about to reply, but his phone rang. He picked it up without seeing the caller ID. Yeah, how could you do this to my sister? A shrill, loud voice reached his ears. He hissed and put the phone away from his ears. Jinyoung, what happened? Why did you hide you are into boys? You ruined Ryan's life. How could you? Before he could start rapping, Jimin disconnected the call. He peered at Ryan, who was looking everywhere but Jimin. What did you do, Ryan? How does Jin Hyung know? He narrowed his eyes at her while she laughed nervously. I actually, she fidgeted with her fingers, a smile awkwardly. What did you do, Ryan? He reiterated. With his tone, Ryan knew he wasn't in the mood of joking. I posted a story on my Insta account saying my husband is gay, with a crying emoji. She blurted out and shut her eyes, ready to bear his outburst. I take my words back. You are not almost like Taeyong. You are Taeyong. You both are male and female version of each other. He slumped off the floor saying that his phone started ringing and his mother's name displayed on the screen. He knew why she called him, so he hung up and switched it off. What more you did? I requested my followers to share it as much as they can, she whispered. However, he heard it. He stared at her with a blank face without saying anything. Wine glanced at him. Don't worry, I'll delete the story and I'll tell them I was just pranking them. It isn't a big deal. She chuckled awkwardly, but Jimin stayed silent, staring at her. He stood up and pulled her to stand along with him. He bent down and picked her up like a potato sack. A surprised shriek escaped from Wine's lip at his sudden action. What are you doing? You told the world your husband is gay, but it's not true. I need to prove it. I'm taking you to my room to give you proof, and the world will get the proof after 9 months, he uttered, carrying her towards his room.